Hi, I'm Kelly Williams, nutritionist with the Worcester County Health Department, and welcome to another episode of What's Cooking in Worcester. Today we are making a warm and filling and of course nutritious and delicious Mediterranean-inspired vegetable soup. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with our basic vegetable base using some carrots, celery, onion, and garlic. You're going to use about 2 large carrots, and if you wash your carrots really well, you actually don't even need to peel them, but you can peel them if that's your preference. Okay, so we're going to give a nice small chop to our carrots. Okay, next up we've got 2 or 3 ribs of celery, depending on the size. And And lastly, we have our onion. This is a smaller onion, so I'm going to use the whole thing, but if you had a large onion, maybe about a half of that. Okay. Now we're going to move over and get our pan ready. Once you feel your pan start to warm up, you can add your oil. Today I'll be using olive oil, but you could use any oil of choice, whether it's avocado oil or vegetable oil. And this is going to be about 2 tablespoons worth of oil, enough to coat the bottom. And we're going to make sure, again, that that's at about a medium-high heat. And I have about 5 or 6 cloves of garlic here, and I'm just going to give that a rough chop. All right, our pan is warm, and we're going to go ahead and add all of our vegetables except for our garlic at this time. You should hear it give a nice little sizzle, and you know you're at the right temperature. Then give that a little stir, make sure everything's coated in the oil, and you're gonna let that saute for just a couple of minutes until everything is softened. Okay, we've given our carrot, celery, and onion a little bit of a head start, and now it's time to add our garlic. Now while that finishes sauteing, I'm gonna let you know what we're adding next. Here we have 2 cans of drained and rinsed cannellini beans. So to this, we're going to add our beans. We're going to add a large can. This is a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. You could also use a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes. Either one would work. To that, we're going to add a 32-ounce carton, which is about 4 cups of vegetable broth. Okay, we're going to add our seasonings. We've got a little bit of salt there, just a little bit of pink salt. We have a little bit of Italian seasoning, and if you like a little heat, we have a little bit of cayenne. Again, feel free to adjust that for your family's tastes and preferences. And if you are using an electric pressure cooker at this time, you're going to turn the saute function off. Okay, you can give your ingredients a little stir in here. If you are new to pressure cooking, make sure your lid, this is your vent, is on the seal side. Okay, and you just kind of pay attention to where the lock sign is, spin it until you feel it lock into place. Again, check that valve, make sure it points to seal, and then go ahead and press the button that says pressure. Leave it on high pressure, and you are going to set the timer for just 2 minutes. So I have my kale here. This is just a normal curly kale. You could use dinosaur, lacinato, whichever type you prefer. This is already washed, and we're going to look for about 4 cups chopped of this. Now I know it looks like a lot of kale, but of course if you've ever made soup with kale or spinach or anything before, you know that it wilts right down and this will look like nothing pretty soon. Okay, all right. Now we're going to leave our kale here. We're just going to wait for our pressure cooker to come up to pressure. Remember, once pressurized, it's going to cook for about 2 minutes, and then we're going to leave it on what's called a natural pressure release. So we're just going to let that pressure naturally come down without venting the steam out of it all at one time. All right, so we've allowed the pressure to release a bit naturally, but we're going to let out the remainder of the steam by turning this little valve to vent and kind of stand back because you never know what you might get. So you can see now we have enough released that we can turn the lid okay, and release it. All right, and now we're gonna go ahead and add our 4 cups approximately of our chopped kale and just submerge that in the soup. It's going to only take about 5 minutes. You can go ahead and turn your pot off at this point and just gently rest the lid on top and give it a couple of minutes for that kale to soften up in the liquid. Okay, now that you've had the lid back on, again, the heat has been turned off. We are just letting that kale sit there and soften up in the liquid of the soup. And we can remove the lid. It's a nice, hearty soup, as you can see. All right, let's give it a taste. This is packed with fiber, protein, all your vitamins and minerals. It's really a one-stop meal in a bowl. It would go great, again, served alongside of a nice loaf of bread or something like that. It would be a really hearty meal on a nice cold winter night. Remember to eat healthy, be active, prevent diabetes today.